US President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison proposed the Trilateral Security Partnership, AUKUS, at a trilateral meeting on September the 15th, local time. If the project takes shape, Australia would become the 7th country in the world to operate a nuclear-powered submarine.
But this infuriated France. It follows a deal worth tens of millions of dollars signed by Australia and France in 2016 for France to build a fleet of 12 conventionally powered attack submarines for the Australian Navy. However, the United States and Britain will help Australia build nuclear-powered submarines through the AUKUS security allies. This led to the tearing up of the Franco-Australian Agreement, which France only learned about an hour before the allies was formally announced. "I don't know how we can trust Australia now," said Clement Bryan, State Secretary for European Affairs at the French Foreign Ministry. "This is not just a measure against France. It is undermining trust in Europe, because Europe cannot trust its partners now." The French Foreign Minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian, said the issue was not just about military contract, but a more serious breakdown of trust between allies. "This act of treachery is unacceptable and seriously undermines relations between the partners." Le Drian said France was disappointed with the Biden administration because it thought it had turned a page on the unilateralism and unprecedented policies of the United States. But the U.S. actions were reminiscent of its frequent withdrawal from the group. While relations between the U.S. and France have been strained before, this crisis is unprecedented. The notion of America is back, which Mr. Biden so painstakingly sought to establish, is now hard to justify. We're still despised and insulted by the Americans just as we were in the Trump era. Was the common response from the French ruling the opposition parties? The incident has stunned France and cast doubt on transatlantic relations in the European Union. The European Union's foreign policy chief, Hancock Bory, says that SPAD is not a bilateral issue, but affects the entire European Union. "We have to survive on our own, just like everyone else. The behavior of the US, the UK, and Australia towards EU members is unacceptable." President of the European Council condemned America's lack of loyalty and called on Europe to set up its action on the international stage. The Biden administration said America is back, he said, but now we have the question, is America back? Australia's scrapping of the submarine contract has broken the confidence not just in France, but in Europe as a whole. The deep crisis in the West's internal relations is clear. The nuclear submarine cooperation between the US, the UK, and Australia severely undermines regional peace and stability, intensifies the arms race, undermines international nuclear non-proliferation efforts, and runs counter to the wishes of regional countries. The tripartite allies is another step toward the collective division of the West. The contempt that Anglo-Saxon interests represented by the US, UK, and Australia hold for European countries, and the divergence between their positions and those of continental Europe, such as France and Germany, is becoming ever clearer.